Teams that I'm ready to buy in the SEC this year. So these are teams that maybe are being overlooked. The public is not really generally as high as them on them as I am. Teams that I think can be competitive on Saturdays and make a splash in their conference. So let's look to the SEC. The teams that I'm looking to buy this year. Number one has got to be Tennessee. I'm buying Nico. I am all in on Nico. I think he's going to be a playmaker. He had an excellent bowl game. I think he's going to be a star in the SEC, and especially in a Josh Heupel offense. On top of that, he's bringing back a lot of experience at receiver. If they stay healthy, this receiver room could be very dangerous. Like Brew McCoy's coming back, Squirrel White coming back, Chris Brazel's coming back. Not coming back, but he's 6'5", big body receiver. And then they have young guys like Mike Matthews coming in this year's freshman 5-star guy. Like, they're going to be pretty talented at the receiver position. And the defense will be pretty stingy itself. They have James Pierce coming back. He's projected to be a first-round draft pick on the edge, so he'll wreak havoc on defense. Now, last year defensively, they were 64th in pass defense, so that's definitely going to be their biggest question and the thing that they're going to need to address. And we'll see how that plays out on Saturday on the fields. But I think they can make step forwards with on defense, and they have an offense that they can compete in the SEC day in and day out. So I'm buying in on Tennessee. They start with NC State on a neutral field. That's going to be a tricky game. NC State's pretty solid, and they bring physicality, so that's going to be a pretty tricky one. But I think Tennessee can handle that. They got Oklahoma away and Georgia away, so those are really two tough games that are going to be on their schedule. And then they host Florida. They host Bama. And outside of that, they're going to have games that they're pretty excited about and will be pretty favorable in. All right, let's move on to Oklahoma. Oklahoma right now, I think they're getting overshadowed by Texas joining the SEC. And by the way, Texas is a team that they beat last year. So I think that they have a lot of upside. Jackson Arnold will be let's just put it this way. I think he has a lot of upside. He did not do well in the bowl game last year, but I think he has high potential, and I think in an Oklahoma offense, he'll be great. I think he just needs to get developed a little bit, and I think they're being overlooked a little bit because of that. Now, their O-line will be their biggest question, but they do have some dudes with experience up front that can step up and make some big plays and keep Jackson Arnold protected, that young guy. So hopefully the OL will show out. But they bring in Deion Burks from Purdue, and I think he's going to be a big weapon for that offense. And I just think they're being slept on a little bit too much. I think their win total is 7.5. I kind of like Oklahoma there with the over. I think they're going to come in and look, they recruit at a top 10 level year after year, and Venables has done a great job there. So I think they're going to be pretty good this year, and I think they're being slept on just a little bit too much. So I'm willing to buy Oklahoma. Okay, Auburn. This one may be a little bit controversial one because they haven't been great over the past couple of years, but I think they're building their program in the right way, and Hugh Freeze is doing a great job. I think they're building more for next year and for the immediate future, but I do think that this is a year for them where they can wreck some seasons and cause some havoc in the SEC. Now, they're going to be a pretty young team. They're going to rely on a lot of undergrads and some freshmen who are very talented, but they haven't had any SEC experience. So they'll have to come in and make some waves there. But I think they can do it. They're a pretty talented team, and I like what Hugh Freeze has been doing. In Hugh Freeze's first year, they finished 10th in recruiting in their first cycle, which obviously included bringing in Cam Coleman, who's the second highest recruit ever since they started keeping track of recruiting and the talent composition. And previously, Harsin had finished 19th and 20th. So he's made some great strides, and he's competing now with Alabama and Georgia. He's competing with the big boys for talent, and he's winning. He's going into Alabama and taking from Bama and the new Kalen DeBoer program. So I think they compete with the big boys on any given Saturday, and I kind of look to them to wreck some seasons this year. They hung tight with Georgia and Bama last year. I think they can do it again and have a really successful season this year. Lastly, Florida. Because of their schedule this year, they are being looked at as like a oh shit team. Like this team's going to be on the ropes, and Billy Napier is going to be on the hot seat and potentially lose his job. And I think because of that, they're overlooking what they have on their roster. Now, look, it's not a top three roster in the SEC, but it's pretty solid. And I think their schedule right now is making everyone believe that these guys just flat out suck. But like the truth is, with this schedule that they have, Georgia and Ohio State would struggle with this schedule, especially with all of the back to backs at the end. Like the last 5 games that they have are just treacherous. And are we just going to pretend that Graham Mertz didn't have a good year last year in the SEC? He threw for just about 3,000 yards and finished with the highest completion percentage in the SEC, in the conference. Also had a 20-3 touchdown interception ratio. I mean, and also, look, if he doesn't work out, guess what? They have DJ Lagway waiting behind him, who's everyone is exciting about. Even if you're not a Florida fan, everyone is excited to see what this kid's going to be. I think he was like the second highest recruit in the 2024 class, second highest QB rather. And so they're really high on him. And guess what? If Graham Mertz doesn't work out or he gets injured or something, DJ Lagway can come right in. He had a pretty good spring game, so they have high hopes for them. And I think they can also pull off some upsets this year. You know what their schedule is. They're going to be dogs in most games, and they could be hungry. So if Billy Napier has this squad ready to go, I think they're going to make some waves here. Follow Big Body Ball on all socials, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter.